Good evening and welcome to this Wednesday, 8th edition of the Honest Dad Sports Show. I'm your host, Earl Basin, and joining us in a little while will be co-host Jason Juggling J. Ford. But with me right now is the Commodore of the Bermuda Powerboat Association, Mr. Robert Cardwell, and we're here to discuss the upcoming season, the challenges, what they're hoping to accomplish, and anything else that is coming on. First of all, thank you very much for joining us, Mr. President. Obviously, we're in unknown times right now with the latest release from the government regarding, the numbers and what's planned to come out in a few weeks' time. But where do you guys stand as far as the 2021 season in powerboating?
Earl, let me put this out straight away, is that we have a really exciting season planned. We have all of my powerboat teams are itching. They want to get on the water. They were itching all summer last year to get on the water, but of course we lost our entire 2020 season. We're really hopeful for the 2021 season. This year, we've got the junior program coming live. Our junior boats are built. They're ready to be raced. We have junior members signed up, ready to go. We want to get that junior program launched, but even more exciting this year is that we have jet skis. Jet skis are coming on board this year. I think we have upwards of 15 signed up to race already. I'm expecting that number to increase through the season as it gets contagious, because that will become contagious. Right now, so we've been in consultation with the Department of Youth, Sport and Recreation. They've been really good with us. We've corresponded quite regularly. We've put forward to them our plan to race, which includes all of the COVID precautions. So we have things such as all the teams will be required to rope off their pit crew areas so that there's no intrusion. We can't have members of the public going into those pit crew areas. We have all of our members are going to be required to have a negative COVID test prior to showing up on race day. We have temperature being taken on race days. We think that's really good. And the Department of Youth, Sport and Recreation agree with us that those are really good precautions that we've put in place. And they've given us their blessing. So we have the blessing of Youth, Sport and Recreation, but now we've been thrown over to the Department of Health. So we are going to be guided by Department of Health stipulations. Now, I see tonight that they're broadcasting that the running race is going to go ahead on the 28th, which is going to include 450 people. So it's looking pretty positive that our race, scheduled for the 26th, will get the blessing of Ministry of National Security based on the heels of that. We're putting in the precautions to make it happen. We can make it happen. The only thing we can't control is our spectators. We race at Kinney Field. It's a public park. Anybody can go to a public park. We'll obviously ask our spectators to follow the COVID guidance, and that is to wear a mask when you're spectating and to socially distance as much as possible if you're not in your family. But we're pretty excited. I'm really hopeful that we'll get our race. We lost our first two races this season, the 18th of April and the 9th of May. We lost both. We're going to lose both those races. So we're hopeful that the 26th of May, we're going to be on the road and we're going to be racing.
Yeah, well, we're going to be joined immediately after you by the president of the Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby to get an update on what they're planning to do for that day. But again, they'll still be up in arms as far as what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, unless they've been given some sort of go-ahead by the government. Because when you're still talking about numbers and the premier did say last night that every decision of moving forward is based on the numbers. So if the numbers are not where he needs them to be by May 9th, the mixture of household, which is the next step, could possibly be another, blockage to get sports back up and running. Now, I know for a fact that athletes, including yours, are itching to get on the water. They want to get back into something that they love to do. In your plans for the season, where are you basically going to be based at Ferry Reach, or are you looking to take it places where you can control the environment?
Yeah, so we looked at that, and we visited the prospects of Spanish Point Boat Club. We've had races out there before, but that wasn't going to happen. We looked at Dockyard. We looked at Front Street, but these things all comes with expenses, and because we lost a whole year, we're kind of needing to recoup some expenses. Our insurance policy alone costs us a lot of money every year, and that's a big hit for us. We do have our insurance policy in place for 2021. We managed to negotiate with the insurance company. They substantially reduced our fees, which is awesome. But yeah, we did look around, but all of our races this year will be at Kinney Field. So you'll have Kinney Field. You're going to have junior races starting at 10 a.m. They'll run from 10 a.m. to 12. You got 12 to 1 o'clock jet ski races, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock power boats, 2 to 3 is jet skis again, and then 3 to 3:30, 3:45 is going to be power boats. So we're splitting the day up to intermingle all of the powerboat racing entities. So you know we're really excited. I mean, I can't tell you enough of how excited the association is, the members, but also the general membership. Everybody just wants to get out there. They want to get on the water, you know. And so we held this argument with Ministry of Youth and Sport that we're a non-contact sport. We have two guys sitting in the boat racing. They're not in contact with anybody else in the race. And they came back and agreed and said, oh, yeah, no, definitely. We've designated powerboat racing as a non-contact sport. So that was a shoe-in for us. And then, like I said, sports came in and supported us the whole way. So we're just now on where is the Department of Health going to put us. So we have this question for the Department of Health. So we know when we went into this, that there used to be you could congregate in groups of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And if they come back out of this and say you can congregate in groups of 10, is that a green flag for us? That's going to be our $1 million question for national security. Is that a green flag for us? Because we won't have more than 10 people assembled in any pit crew area. Now we'll have more than 10 racing, but they're in their own boats. So they're not in contact. So we got to get through these hurdles, and we're going to have some questions answered ourselves. So we're going to wait until sort of we'll see where we are as of the 9th of May when the Premier announces where we're going and how we're coming out of phase 1. But we're certainly going to be in touch with the Ministry of National Security to make sure we have their blessing. We're not into breaching the rules or breaking regulations or anything like that, and everybody's been really understanding in that regard in the membership, that they want us to be clean, they want us to come out on top of everything, they want us to be in line with the rules, the regulations, the legislation. So there's no sort of power crush in that area.
Mm-hmm. What about the concern? Are there any concerns about the lack of being able to have training? Because obviously you want guys that have put time in boats, especially the youngsters who will be their first time, and you want to make sure that for the safety aspect that they have time in the boats. How much time do you think you need in order to be able to facilitate a safe first race day?
Okay, so I know my Deputy Commodore David. He's got some days lined up to have the juniors come down. They're going to be down at Ferry Reach. He's going to put them through a training program on the do's and don'ts of racing and how to operate those boats that we have for them. So they're going to be fully qualified before our first race day. They're going to have already that orientation. I'm pretty clear that that's going to take place, and certainly David's got that in hand. So. You know, as far as our junior members, when we come out of the starting block, hopefully on the 26th of May, they're good to go because they've already been through the training.
Mm. We have a question. What about spectators?
Yeah. So as I said, we can't control spectators. Spectators, it's a public park, Kinney Field. Spectators can come and go as they please. All we're going to ask, and I don't know if there's going to be authorities coming in on top of us when we have our race day to oversee what's going on. But we're going to ask people to wear your masks and socially distance. If you're not in your family, then just put that 6 feet apart and be good.
Mm. Now, obviously people get excited when they hear those engines roaring around and so forth, but anybody new or anybody coming back into the sport after a long layoff?
I'm hearing rumors. I don't want to go on record, but I'm hearing rumors. There might be at least one old timer that's returning. All right, I'll tell you. Black Fox. He might be coming back, so I'm looking forward to that because he's been telling me he's going to do that for the entire time I've been to Commodore, which is the last 3 or 4 years. So it looks like he might be coming out because I put his boat up on our powerboat Facebook page, and he got pretty excited about that. So it looks like he might be coming back.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, he's been posting that he's coming back for, I think this is about the 4th year now.
Yeah.
But no one's seen him in the water. Well, they've seen him in the water, but not actually racing. So
yeah.
I don't know what they've been throwing out to him, but yeah. So
hopefully he's going to come back as one of our S classes, and it'd be nice to have him. We're really looking forward to it. Like, he's threatening to come back, and he has been threatening for a long time. So hopefully we've pushed him across the edge now, and he is coming back for this season.
Yeah. Now this is your 2nd full year as the Commodore?
This would be my
3rd.
It's my 3rd or 4th, but yeah.
3rd, right. So how have things changed under your leadership?
Well, the one thing I brought into my leadership is I'm a Commodore with no affiliation to any race team. I don't have a race boat. I don't sit in any race boats to race. So I brought kind of like a sort of a neutral. I brought neutrality to the role of the Commodore, is that I can make decisions. I'm not biased to anybody. I'm not associated to anybody. And I got to tell you, I've had full support of the membership. I've had full support of the executive. I've had to make some decisions, and it's all gone across really, really well. And it's been a breeze. It really has. It's been wonderful. It's been a wonderful experience.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, anything else you want to add for the upcoming season, pending a go-ahead before May 26th?
Well, I'll just tell everybody, stay tuned to our Facebook page. We'll make announcements on there. I am looking forward to the 26th of May. I'm really hopeful, like I said, with the marathon getting the go-ahead. I'm really hoping that we can follow on the heels of that and get the go-ahead and the green and the blessings. We invite our spectators to come out. I think we've got a really exciting season. So, like, we are going to have a combination of inshore and offshore powerboat racing. We're going to have jet ski racing, at least 2 sets a day. So, and that's all inshore. It's going to be very fast. It's going to be very exhilarating. It's going to be really phenomenal to watch. And we got our junior boats, and come down and support our juniors, and let's make it a great season. I'm really looking forward to it. I really want to get this off the ground and get it going.
All right. Well, I want to thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to the next update from the government regarding sports. Yeah. And hopefully it's favorable for not just your sport, but all sports, but hopefully yours gets that go-ahead, being that it's a non-contact sport, okay?
We sure hope. Thank you, Earl. Really appreciate it.
We'll have more after this commercial break. We'll be back.
Nature's Path Organic are a family business, major proponents of the organic method of food production with decades of experience in the field, and have diversified their interests focusing on animal welfare and children's education in that realm. Hence the introduction of Enviro Kids cereal made to the exacting standards we expect and benefiting their cause. Saving animals one breakfast at a time. 1% of sales goes towards protection of animals and their habitats. We're featuring Enviro Kids organic, gluten-free Gorilla Munch cereal. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. We're now going to be joined by Vernon A. Springer to get a Caribbean report.
Good day, Bazen. This is Vernon Springer from Vasports Media in Antigua and Barbuda, the home of 365 beaches. Sports, what can we say? We've just heard some good news for the nation of St. Kitts and Nevis, who will be hosting the 2021 Hero Caribbean Premier League, where all 33 matches will be played at the new and modernized Warner Park Cricket Stadium. You'll have to call it the T20 home, the home of the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots. So 33 matches will be played at the Warner Park Cricket Stadium with, as you would know, 5 strips. They've got some excellent facilities in terms of practice. You've got the Connery Cricket Arena. You've also got the Edgar Gilbert Sports Complex in Molyneux. You've also got the St. Paul's Sporting Complex. You've also got the Sandy Point Sporting Complex. You've got the Virtual Sporting Complex. So in terms of practice facilities in St. Kitts and Nevis for the CPL, they're really not short of practice facilities. So I think for the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, the investment made for the CPL 2021 coming to St. Kitts and Nevis is a good boost. This partnership would have started way back in 2014. So St. Kitts and Nevis is earmarked to be able to make sure that they can be able to take that to the next level. In terms of cricket West Indies, the here in Antigua and Barbuda, the head coach Courtney Walsh will conduct his second training camp for the women cricketers starting on Sunday in Antigua and Barbuda as they prepare for a tour, I think at the end of June. So they'll be able to be going on a tour. I think they might be going to India or somewhere around in those Asian continents areas. So the West Indies women team will be earmarking and getting themselves organized. There's also going to be a rollout plan in Antigua and Barbuda for an under 15 women's program. So that in itself is motoring around. We'd also know that it's tough times for our neighbors in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the close by neighbors, Barbados, who's almost like a sporting country because they themselves have been affected. School sports is active in Dominica. Lots of action taking place in Dominica, Commonwealth of Dominica. Trevor Shillingford, the director of sports, they've rolled out a massive sporting program, so that is excited. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis, I think as of May 15th, they have also rolled out a situation where vaccinated folks can be able to go to sporting events in St. Kitts and Nevis. So that's almost a good thing. The Cricket Association in Nevis, they also have an organized 10-10 tournament. Sports is really not fully back in Antigua and Barbuda as yet. The government's dealing with a number of other issues as we speak. Gyms were just opened yesterday. They're now having consultation about the bars. So I think that maybe by after the holidays, beaches will be closed. But after the holidays, I think that we can see an semblance where cricket can begin to come back into some sort of normalcy state where they can begin to start playing their competitions. I would like to see basketball. I want to see school sports actively start taking place also in Antigua and Barbuda and the wider part of the Caribbean around there. So in terms of sports, the Carifta Games is on a whole, that is supposed to be coming to you, listening to the president, and some of the other executive officers. A meeting was held. And with the increase of cases in Bermuda, I just wanted to say to everybody, stay safe. We can all fight this together, but we just got to be able to make sure that we remain strong, committed. Anguilla, they finished their T20 tournament for the first time. Montserrat is also playing some cricket, and Martin is also playing some cricket. So Trinidad and Tobago, they have not got the clarion call yet to be able to have competitive cricket, but Jamaica government has given the Jamaica Cricket Association the authority to start training again. So cricket, all of the teams have started training back in Jamaica. Football is also looking to make a move in Jamaica to come back on stream. So hey, sports is the vehicle that be able to take us through this pandemic. This is Vernon Springer from Vast Sports Media saying to everybody, please go get vaccinated. I've got my jab. Remain focused. You have a choice. If you don't want to get vaccinated, it is your choice. But those of you who have a choice, just make it happen. Because once you do that, you help to save lives and you help to save a nation. And you maybe even help to ignite your own health, that you can continue to make a contribution to this wonderful earth and this wonderful universe.
And thank you, Mr. Springer, for that update throughout the Caribbean. We will be momentarily joined by the president of the Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby, Dr. Gina Tucker, who actually has made her way just in time.
That is
the
something.
lady of the hour. Well, there's been a lot of people
goodness.
sitting around waiting to hear and get an update from the Half Marathon Derby president.
I tell you.
What's the latest?
What can I say? It's just been a pretty awesome 24 hours. As I mentioned to you the last time I was with you, the committee would meet on this week's Tuesday to determine exactly where we would go next, what would happen, what would we do. I am excited that the government is in full support of this event going on. So it's delightful, it's good, and just feeling the spirit. Oh, you feel the spirit lifted?
I was feeling the spirit last night when I was actually premier.
I mean, I tell you, I don't know, and I didn't see it, right? But everybody was like, Earl's asking the premier something, and and he said his constituent, is working on it, and we were really looking and saying Bermuda needs this derby, in real terms, meaning just this moment of spirit lifting, of joy, of unity, of community spirit. It's just needed. And so we're pulling it all together, Earl. I mean, it's it's in the blink of an eye, right?
Yeah. Are you staying with Plan A in the 450?
Yes, we are. We are staying with the 450. We will do all the protocols. We will, ensure as much as possible that the participants are safe and are healthy. And then we will plead. I will put on my teacher hat and say, community, Bermuda, listen, behave yourselves, right? Stay in your bubble. Be good, be good. So that this event is one that we can say, we did it. We did it, and it came off without a hitch, and everyone was able to enjoy it. So there's 13.1 miles of road for people to watch this race. So I expect that the Bermuda community is going to just do what we have to do.
Yeah. Now, when you look at all the trials and tribulations not going on last year,
Right.
what were some of the concerns that the committee had going into the meeting last night?
Well, we really were asking ourselves because, to be very honest, I would not suggest that we would consider doing this event without the government support, without ensuring that it's something that government is able to support at that time. I believe, we're looking at 4 weeks out. So before I even started the meeting, my members were saying it's too soon. Do not cancel. We need to do this. It's still enough time. And I just think people are so anxious to have this. And I give much credit and recognition to the premier and the government, because they too recognize the importance in it. And that it is something we can do in a safe way, and that something that can bring unity. Now, I don't know about the parade. The parade is a different type of event, but this one can definitely. Our runners are out there; they're ready. They're anxious about putting on their show. This is their day for their show. And so they are they are in complete joy.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that, because they deserve this day. They missed it last year, so they deserve it.
Now, on the other side, obviously, the competitors who will now change gears and try to put in the miles to be able to complete the race. What do you envision the race looking like? Because obviously the top guys who would have been preparing, and then this latest lockdown where you couldn't go out a mile.
That's right. That's right.
How do you envision this one in particular coming off?
Well, I used to say this as a teacher and even as a principal. When everyone is disadvantaged, it's equal. Everyone is equally disadvantaged.
Okay.
Meaning, it wasn't like some people had the opportunity to do their normal training while other people didn't. At least all of the local, and I'm predicting that we will have mostly local people for the most part, will all had to suffer through that 1 week of 1 mile distance. And so it's equal. Everybody was set back equally. I don't know if everybody understands what I'm saying, but
yes.
It's that everyone had an equal disadvantage, right? And so everybody had 1 week where they couldn't train in the way that they like to train. So I saw Chris on Tuesday. I was trying to trot along in the road, and Chris came flying past me. So I think he's doing pretty good. He's doing pretty good. So I think it will be that normal competitive race that we are used to seeing. Yeah, I don't
Now,
think it'll be a negative effect.
right. There's that talk of people vaccinated, people not being
Oh
vaccinated. I
gosh.
know
Well,
the national teams have been told they need to be vaccinated in order to compete.
mm.
What has the government instructed your organization as far as making sure the athletes who take part? What is the requirement?
Well, I think the vaccination debate is one that is far greater than an event such as this. This is a community event. I do think we should be vigilant as much as possible in ensuring that people have done their due diligence to ensure they are negative, if you will, before this race. I I do believe that the vaccination it's a choice, and people have to do what they're comfortable with. And I get the debate, and I don't think that the race should be getting in the middle of that debate. At least Dr. Tucker doesn't need to get into that debate. I would ask that 2 days before, 48 hours before, people get a test. We may look and see where we can put a pop-up test just for our runners, to really just at least get tested, because I do think runners would be inclined to be conscious about their health, right? I mean, you're a runner, so you're trying to be a healthy person, and so I am thinking they would not want to come to the event knowing that they are positive and could potentially affect someone else. So we're not going to get. I can say we're not going to get into the vaccination space. I don't think that is appropriate, but I do think it's important for us to request as much as possible that our participants are negative.
Now, this particular community event, which is one of the bigger ones that we host each year, we often see people that are unregistered running in the event.
Right, I know.
What is the plan to ensure that that is minimized, and if someone does get on the course, someone is there to kind of get them off of the course?
Yeah, you called it. We would really have to be vigilant in pulling our persons who don't have a bib. I guess that's the way we would look at it. Pulling them off. This is not the year to do that. If typically we are not really keen to police those people, only because it's it is a community event and so forth. But this is not the year to do that. We've limited for safety reasons. And so, we'll ask the community respectfully, those who typically just jump on the course, to not do that this year in particular. Don't make it harder than it has to be.
No, what is the plan, the early plans for the finish line? Because obviously you don't want a whole bunch of people congregating there. What is the early plans for the finish at Dutton Avenue?
Yeah, we will enable people, of course, to pick up whatever goodie we have there in a bag. They would pick it up, and we will encourage them to disperse away from the field. Now, I'm always mindful of people who fall across the finish line, and I say that in good spirit, right? Who just about make it, who need some attention, and so of course we would want anyone who's needing the help or needing to be able to regroup, if you will, for a minute to remain. But we will not encourage the congregating at the field. In fact, we don't want any spectators to come to the field. You can be on the finish line stretch, but not on the field per se, just hanging out.
And obviously, just like anything where someone may need medical attention, how is that being worked out, or when do you think that will be worked out with the authorities? Because obviously now we have to deal with individuals a little different.
Yeah. Well, our hope is per normal that St. John's will be there and play their part as they have always done every year. And I would expect that they would be very clear in how anyone who needs help is handled. Of course, with minimal people on the field, the hope is that minimal people are interacting with anyone who does need help. But they would, that is a really good point. They would really need to be vigilant in that space and watching who needs help, so that this care that's given is not compromising the health of other people in any way.
Have you discussed the possible cutoff time for the race as well?
Yeah, we the race was moved up to 8:30 start, and we typically close the chute. We have always closed the chute at 12:30, but that was with a later start. I think we will probably, but because we'll have waves, it still will be a little delayed. So we probably shut it down at 12. Probably shut it at 12. My director Roger's going to have to really give us a sense of that, but my prediction is that we'll probably scream off a half an hour. At the end.
At the end, yes.
Right, yeah, at the end. Yeah. So guys, if you cannot make it, in 8, 9, 8:30, 9:30, 10, 11, 3.5 hours, this is probably not the race for you.
Not this year.
Not this year. Not this year. But I mean, again, it's a limited edition, and so unlike normal years, we could have 100 people that show up at number pickup, and they woke up that day and they said, I'm running, and they come get a beer. It is unlikely we would have those people be able to do that. We're placing a bet. I'm placing a bet on what day will the spaces run out. Will it happen on Saturday? Will it close out in one day? But once it reaches 450, it's closed. So I suspect that people will know they're running. They know they're running right now. They know, and because this is not the race to wait until the week before to number pickup to decide that you're going to do that.
What about that position of the teams? Are we still looking at the possibility of having teams as well, or are you still limiting it to just that 450?
We have 25 teams, 25 relay teams that will be able to participate. So that would put on the road at any given time 475 people as the teams make their way down. Right.
Okay. Yeah. I guess you have monitors at the handover stations to ensure this social distancing.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I think when we decided that 25, it was because the regulations had about 25 people, in terms of the groups congregating, and that's when we determined the 25 at that point. So you're absolutely correct. Those people again, I have a lot of faith in our participants, and I believe that they'll do what they need to do. I mean, like I said to you the last time, we've had a lot of practice. We've had a lot of practice in this 6 feet. We know what 6 feet looks like. We know what a mask feels like. We know, we know how to, keep it safe. And so I think they'll be vigilant in doing that.
Yeah. What does it mean for the committee that this has been given some approval to go ahead this year?
I mean, ecstatic. I mean, the community was like, hallelujah, like, yes. I mean, it was really, that's a really good question, because I felt the joy come through the screen where it was like, yes, this is good. This is good for Bermuda. It's good for the runners. It's good for everybody. We're going to work hard over the next 30 days. I was going to tell you, it's going to be a lot of pulling together, and I'm thanking the committee right now. I mean, already we've shifted gears and going into high speed and to make this happen. Of course, it might not be as perfect as we would typically have it be, but it will be a limited edition, and it will be great.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
for the runners, they are not too fussy about too much, you know. They just want to hear that gun go, and they just want to make their way. So it'll be good.
yeah. Now, you guys have worked with an abundance of sponsors over the years. How are they feeling now that after a year absence, this event is coming back?
Yeah, I think they're excited. They're happy. They're pleased that it is supported by by government, and that the government does recognize the important part it will play in the after, but moving beyond the pandemic, as the premier has said. It's an important part of bringing us out of this, what for many people could be a very depressing space.
Mhm.
So I think the sponsors recognize that as well. And while there maybe have been some hesitancy in whether we would have it, and should we have it, and is it good, and maybe not, I think now people recognize that it's a good thing for us to be able to have this opportunity to again move one step beyond the pandemic. So I think they're very pleased with that, our sponsors.
Yeah. Now I'm going to give you the opportunity to have one more message to the general public about
Oh my
the
gosh.
Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby, not just to the runners, but to the spectators as well.
Oh yeah. Well, I think the spectators are the ones that listen, spectators. This is the gift that has been given to this community this year. It came very close. I think if it was 3 weeks ago, or even now, we might not have been able to have it. But we have been given the chance to have this moment of spirit, good spirit, community spirit, unity, and hope. Let's do what we have to do, and make Bermuda proud, because it's needed. And so I'm looking forward to the spectators. I missed them last year. So I'm looking forward to seeing everyone on the sidelines cheering our participants on. So let's get ready.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, what
get
we'll do
ready.
is we'll invite you back probably in about
Yes.
2 or 3 weeks to
Yeah.
get an update and any final things that will go on for the day. And we would get an update from you then. You and members of your committee can join us, and then
That would be nice.
we'll go from there.
That would be nice.
Okay.
Nice. All righty. Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, Earl. Okay.
Okay, we'll be back with more
Thank you.
after this message from our sponsor.
There was a time when sea vegetables were considered exotic by most, and then along came sushi consisting in raw fish with rice and sea vegetables, notably seaweed and porphyra. The folks at Gimme Health Foods know that sea vegetables are fat-free, low in calories, and one of the richest mineral sources in the vegetable kingdom, as they flourish surrounded by the mineral-rich ocean. And that roasted seaweed is a real good eats. Could this be the ideal snack? We're featuring Gimme Health organic sea salt and avocado and sesame seaweed snacks. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. I just want to give the latest update regarding the government notice with to do with the COVID-19. The Ministry of Health received 1,260 test results since the last update. 12 were positive for coronavirus, yielding a test positivity rate of 1.0%. 7 of the new cases are classified as local transmission with known contact, as they are associated with known cases. Additionally, 5 new cases are classified as under investigation. Currently, Bermuda is monitoring 551 public health monitoring, with 31 in hospital and 7 in intensive care. I am getting questions regarding the Bermuda Bicycle Association's Sinclair Packard Memorial Race that I am not sure about. That race actually does take place the same day as the Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby. But we will get some clarity, some update regarding that particular event as well. Getting another message it looks as if the rules are off if this event is going to take place. I'm not the person that makes the decisions. I'm the one that answers the questions, and it looks as if when questions are asked and answered, things start to move. So probably next week's press conference, I can ask that question and regarding other sports in detail, because I know for Bermuda, it's a good thing that we can get back into some normalcy, and the Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby is a big part of our community stakeholder. But we want to just make sure that when we do all return, it's in the best interest of everyone. And I know there's a lot of athletes out there that really want to get back out there running. So we heard from the president of Bermuda Powerboat Association, the Commodore of the Bermuda Powerboat Association, Robert Caldwell, who talked about the athletes are itching to get underway. So, you know, when we put them in the environment, we want to make sure that everything is safe and done by the current guidelines, which 450, waves of 20, waves of 30, waves of whatever. Looks like we're coming out. So we're going to be joined now by the president of the Bermuda Boxing Federation, Mr. Nathan Dill, and we're going to be hopefully joined by one of his boxing members. But Nathan, we had you on a few weeks ago when it was revealed that the qualifiers in Argentina actually were postponed, leaving a lot of boxers, especially the Caribbean island boxers, in a no-win situation. Has anything changed regarding that?
Good night, Earl, and good night, Bermuda. No, there has not been any significant changes. However, as I have mentioned before, I am part of what's now called the CABA, Caribbean Amateur Boxing Association, a confederation. And doing due diligence, I reached out to my colleagues in CABA, and me being one of the newest members, and most of them being very experienced, 20 years in the business, they have said to me, please do not have your boxers stop training for any reason under any circumstances. Number one, they said the ratings or the rankings are a very, very finicky thing. You know, I liken it to like nuclear physics. They don't actually know what the outcome is going to be when they start plotting in the formulas, and you know, you have to get the brackets, and you know, you need two boxers to fight. Mm-hmm. And you know, we can't assume that, you know, because we are not under the rankings, we won't get pulled in to be matched up to make the brackets as they need to be. So we have been advised to wait. The official stance is to wait until May the 7th, when the brackets or the rankings are announced, and that will be our final determination whether our athletes will go or not. But nevertheless, we are not going to stop training, and we're looking for the next opportunities open for us.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm constantly on the IABA site. I'm always looking at the other Caribbean islands who have boxers who are in the same position, who haven't boxed in a number of months, even a year. That prior to that would have probably walked into the Olympics the way they were performing, but they are now sitting on the sideline looking to say, okay, what is next? Where do we go? How does this work out? So I know you're not the only one. What has been the talk around the two boxers that were planning to participate in the qualifiers?
So what we're looking to do is to basically, I mean, the writing is on the wall for us, as far as we need to make sure that we are participating in events that's going to give us ratings or rankings, so that if a scenario like this ever comes up again, we are a little bit better positioned of knowing where we stand. I just discussed, we had an executive meeting tonight. I had a good talk with my national coach and my technical director, and I'm due to call my technical coach, Jamal Goofy Woolrich, in a couple of minutes after this show. And what we did say is we need to get across the pond, because if you're looking, AIBA and boxing is very active in Europe right now, very active. Global pandemic or not, they have successfully hosted events. They just held April 13th, the AIBA Youth Championships. Yeah. There are other events scheduled, European events, all the way over to Asia. There are events that are happening. Right now, the general, it's not everywhere. It may be Portugal, but not Spain. Spain, but not Portugal. It is Poland, but not Germany. Different things. But there's enough pockets over there that are open to boxing, and we need to start aligning our goals with those international events. There's high level open tournaments, and there's high level invitational tournaments. So we're at least operating at our boxes have to be maxed out in order to compete in any of those events. The European Championship, the Open international boxing events. So we're looking to see what would be the logistics of getting over that side of the world and participating in some of those events.
No, in the amateur field, it's a little different, because especially if you go to a qualifier, you go to the Olympics, or you go to the CAC games or whatever, you're fighting so many fights in a short space of time. So how many fights would a person have to do per year to gain these points that are necessary to be eligible to make these qualifiers and then go on to these major festivals?
Now you're asking the difficult questions, and I would have to say I'll get back to you on that one. I'll definitely do my research on that, because I actually don't know. We have been kind of sheltered here over this side of the world. Our regional body is the AMBC, and we usually, I'm aware of the AMBC events, the American and Caribbean Championships, those type of events. So it's only this COVID again, it's a blessing in disguise in some ways, because it now forces us to say, well, what's happening over on this side of the world? So I'm not actually sure, but I know that there's high-ranking teams. If you go back and you look at the different AIBA events, the international boxing events, you see the same names. You see the same countries. You see Panama going over there to Europe and participating in their championship. You see Ireland going over, to Asia and participating in Poland. So you see the same contingent of boxers in all of these high-level competitions. So once we start making that foray into that, I would be able to better answer where exactly do they have to be, because it only makes sense that if you have a boxer who may not make the top 3, but he's always in the top 10, he's in the AIBA top 10, he's in the AMBC, so he's in the world, he's in the regional, and he's in the continental, championships all at once, that person has probably secured himself a place in the rankings. So we have to start walking down that road to really answer that question.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the things that I think also needs to be explained to people that in the amateur world, you could lose 2 fights and still be in with points. But a lot of people well, let's put it like this. A lot of people in Bermuda, if you lose 2 fights, kind of just call it quits because the pressure you get. But if you're setting out for a goal, I think that is the most important thing that is told to people, that it's not about the first 2 fights, it's about the longevity of the career.
Absolutely. So I love this conversation, because with each contingent of boxers, you got, different priorities and different mentalities. And we had to really shift from the mentality that I can't have a zero, I can't have a loss on my record. I'm saying that, we now understand, our boxers now understand, it's not how many wins and how many losses you get in your amateur career. It's really how many fights that you get. You look at somebody like Valentin Lomachenko, or you look at somebody like Floyd Mayweather when they were fighting on the amateur circuit. These guys had hundreds and dozens of fights. So, we really need to, and this is something that the Federation actually recognized years ago, in saying, well, the only way for a boxer to get, 6-8 fights a year, which is the target of, that's the optimal, 6 being the minimum, 8 being optimal. In order for them to fight 6 to 8 times a year, they have to be on that circuit, whereas they're doing the local club events, they're doing the regional events like the Caribbean Championships, they're doing those open events like Golden Gloves, Platinum Gloves, Sugar Burt Tournament. There's, they're really high level events, but they're open events. And then you're also doing those invitational events, whereas only those boxers who have really earned a spot get into this invitational or those qualifying events like the Pan Ams and the CAC and whatnot. So we're really looking, we really have changed the culture to whereas you have a young boxer like Adrian Roach, who looks at the Portuguese guy in 2019 and said, hey, wait, he's a national champion in Portugal? Okay, well, I want to fight that guy. I want to fight him because I want to measure myself up next to a person who has the same credentials and qualifications. And I could say in that case, Adrian walked away with a loss, but he walked away with an experience to say, wow, I only need minor adjustments to outpoint this guy. I lost on points. I didn't lose on a knockout. I didn't lose on a TKO. I wasn't outclassed. It wasn't a 10-6 round, 10-8 round. It was a 10-9. I lost on 2-3 points. So that's just a slight adjustment in his training program. And again, he wears that lodge with a badge of honor. I fought a national champion, and I could have beat that guy. If I fight that guy again, I will beat that guy.
Now, I know your organization, you guys had a lot planned 2 years ago that would have increased the number of bouts we would have had, and increased the number of fights that our fighters would have had even abroad. I know financially you're not in that same space, but can we strive toward that maybe in about 3 year time where we get back to what that plan looked like?
So absolutely, and we're still riding high off that plan, even though I did discuss it was not financially feasible for us. So essentially, we need to have a fight every 3 months, 4 months. That's the smallest interval that we can do. When Teachers Rugby, who was doing an awesome job in supporting boxing for a number of years, when they were hosting events regularly, we was able, or the Federation before my time was able to really just piggyback off of those events to get some events going. When they kind of fell off, and of course the latest event was called Revival, something to the sense of, hey, we're back doing events. I can't remember the exact name of the event, but that was the essence of it. And then you had another player come in with Epic or Extreme Entertainment, and they've also done a great job and raised the production value of the events, really put the showmanship in the events. So we enjoy utilizing partners like that, like Teachers Rugby and Epic Entertainment, so that the Federation, because the last couple of years from 2017 to 2019, mostly all of the events that you went to was put on by us. Very stressful for our team. We're juggling a lot. Where you have referees, you have boxers, you have coaches, you have all sorts of things under your remit, and then you're taking the burden and the financial risk of an event. And that was, again, it was always a success. And I would say to people, it was always a success, but it depends on how you measure success. Because the success for us was we were able to host a high level event. That was the success for us. Some events made money and they were a financial success, and some events didn't. And so at the end of the day, for us, we basically, it's hard explaining to somebody when, you've seen an event that sold out that we're breaking even. It's really hard for them to comprehend. But so the plan now is, again, with all that said, to utilize those partners, those promoters. We're really trying to push them to plan ahead for us. It does a favor for us if they can, and what I do is open the calendar and say to them, tell me your dates. But when you tell me your dates, I need you to commit to your dates. I will give you the leeway because you're doing this as a business, you need to make money. I will give you the leeway of giving you an open calendar and not put any events to fund your business model. But I need you to host this event to follow through, because if you say you're going to have the event, which has happened, it does cause such a negative impact for the Federation. If you say you're going to have an event in May, and then you have to cancel it and end up having it in August, then that shifts the calendar for us. And it really, because, there's a mandatory rest period. And of course, we want to make sure our boxers are as prepared as they could be. So that's one aspect of the plan. And then the other plan would be simply traveling overseas. So we would say, okay, we have this local event lined up, and then 3 months later, or I'm sorry, 2 months later, we have this overseas event, and then a month after that, we have another local event, so that, again, the goal is to have our boxers as active as possible, because again, unlike America, unlike the Caribbean, we can't just jump and go from St. Lucia to the next island, or from Delaware to, Oregon if you're in America. So that's the plan, that's the strategy, and we're really we're hoping that when things open back up, we can resume that strategy.
Yeah. Well, I want to wish you and your organization all the best. I know it's a difficult time right now, and sitting and waiting is always a challenge for anyone, the unknown. But it sounds as if you have a plan past that date, and something that the boxers can look forward to. Hopefully, once we come out of this latest bit of lockdown or whatever we're under,
whatever it is,
we can get back to seeing your sport and your boxers in the ring, doing something that they really enjoy, and hopefully with those aspirations of going to any one of the major 4 festivals and or turning pros. So I think that's the future that you guys have in your hands. That it's the guidance from the administration that allows people to see their dreams come true.
Yeah, that's it. I said, you know what? I've learned that the sport, it really grows in the boardroom. Not putting any pat on my back, but I've seen that you can only go forward if you have a strong administration team really helping to grow the development of the sport. And of course, as always, Earl, I'm very gracious to you to keeping your ear on the street and keeping your finger on the pulse and seeing what's going on for boxing. And we hopefully each time we report back, there's progress, some sort of progress. Every time. But again, I thank you for your support as well.
I'm just holding on a minute because I see Adrian Roach is trying to come in.
Beautiful.
We could just hold on for a second. Actually, let's take a commercial break, and when we come back, hopefully he's in. We'll take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Just in time for spring cleaning comes a fragrant, naturally effective solution. Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day Household Cleaners. Formulated not with the usual harsh chemicals like chlorine, ammonia, and petroleum derivatives, but powerful natural essences with garden-inspired scents. Safer for your children and pets, and aromatherapeutic too. This month we're featuring Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day Laundry Detergent with geranium and lavender, multi-surface cleaners powered by the invigorating aromas of lavender, bluebell, and honeysuckle, and more. Lindos, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. He's still looking like he's trying to get in. He hasn't activated his audio or his camera. Here we go. Here we go. How's this? Well, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Thank you for joining us. Obviously, we had our chat about the administration side of the qualifiers, but for you, how have things gone thus far in preparation for the qualifiers, despite them being called off?
I feel like preparations have been as best as they could have been. I was away in Canada. I'm getting working with guys that are on that level, and that have been there before. It's like just going every day, gym, like 2-3 times a day. Just getting the work in and staying dedicated, staying focused. It's a lot of sacrifice. You miss him being away. But it was all for a good cause. It was, a little bit disheartening when we found out that the qualifiers were canceled. But it's like we just stick training, like stay training, and I'm young. The next opportunity is just around the corner.
Right. Now, one of the things that we all heard from the outside, Canada was on lockdown, and there was no sporting events going on. So how did you manage to get any, or did you manage to get any sparring in?
Oh yeah, I sparred with guys. They were on their country's respective Olympic team. One of the guys on my school's team, he made it to the finals of Canada's qualifiers to go to the Olympics. Another guy, he was a gold medalist at the Canada Games. Sparred with professionals, that fight on design. These guys are like fighting on the top broadcasting channels for boxing professionally, and I'm getting work with them, and it's like it's amazing.
Yeah, being in that environment. Okay, you come from Bermuda. You had this eye there of what training would look like, but then
Right.
you go into this setup. What was the difference for you?
It was different because the guys, they had a lot more experience than me. Like I'm going out there. Even though I've been boxing for a few years, I only have 7 fights. These guys, they get 7 fights within a few months. Like these guys got hundreds of fights, 55 fights. There's like a bunch of fights, and it was different adjusting. Just to like the different styles. You're used to in Bermuda. You spar the same guys. Pretty repetitive. It's pretty repetitive with the guys that you spar. While it's still good work, it gives you different looks when you're out there. Like you get guys that are kung fu fighters, defensive fighters, guys that box you. So you kind of learn how to fight every single type of guy, and it's also a bigger pool to immerse yourself in.
Yeah. So the benefits for a boxer from Bermuda is to be off island to get that more regular opportunity, right?
Most definitely. I find that being away from Bermuda, being away from family, friends, it helps me focus a little bit better, and like it kind of gives me like drive to work hard. That's because it's like I'm young, so I've never really been away from home for too long. So it's like when I went out there, it was a new experience, and it's like when you're home and you're bored, you call your boys up and it's like, yeah, like guys, go to the dock or like chill. But like when you're out there, you get bored, you just go to the gym. So it's like it's a different type of drive, and I'm just brought that work ethic back here, and I knew working 10 times harder, I could do anything I put my mind to as long as I'm working hard, and that's what I plan to do.
Well, let me ask you this question: being that you was with some guys who are a lot more experienced than you, getting hit that first time, what was that like?
Yeah, it was. Them guys are solid. They're solid for sure. The first week or two, I'm not gonna lie, they were putting licks on me, but I adjusted, and I'm a fast learner, so I started getting my own licks in. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you in the ring. I know the executive is working hard to ensure that you guys get everything you need. So when you put on the gloves, all you have to do is worry about boxing yourself. So I wish you all the best. And again, Nathan, I wish you all the best come first week in May, where we find out whether it is the end or if it's a new beginning. And I'm hoping and I'm praying that it's a new beginning as opposed to an end for these guys. For this time around, as Adrian said, he's young. He's got a more opportunity. So and it's been in the right space. So that's the plus that we look forward to. And Adrian, you have a lot of support here in Bermuda. Just enjoy what you do, have fun at what you do, and the best will come out of you. All right?
Definitely. Appreciate it.
Nathan and Adrian, thank you very much for joining us here on the Island Stats Sports Show. I will talk to you guys later. Do enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you, Mark. All right, good night. Good night, Bermuda.